The Four Magazine, Detroit, baby, we out here. You see what's going on, we activated, we ain't playing no games.
Let's get it, man.
Let's get it.
Without further ado, welcome to another episode of Interviews with the Foreign Magazine, where we go beyond the veil into the thoughts, ideas, and perspectives of each guest that we sit down with. And today, we got another one, man. We got none other than my brother, Alphonso Settles, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. What's up with you?
Yes, sir. Can't complain, man. Can't complain. How you feeling?
Right? I feel great, man. I feel great. I had a long day. Just got in from Chicago. You know, was at a networking event down there, man. Hit the road, came right back out, right back here. Got in at 4 a.m. Got a few hours of sleep and got up. Business as usual, man. Time to get to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, with you, man, in particular, you've been doing what you've been doing for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And when we look at Detroit and we look at how far we've come in terms of acting, in terms of the film industry, you've been one of those people that has been in this game for a while.
Yeah.
You've seen when no one was checking for Detroit, films, movies.
Yeah.
And now you see where we've literally taken over.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it's our hopes to kind of get your journey and talk a little bit about your experiences and inform people on the work you've done, but also just the terrain of the film industry in general, man. So if you can, talk a little bit about your background, your upbringing, and what got you introduced to acting.
Okay. Well, I'm from here, Detroit, born and raised. Come from a single home. Mom raised me. Grandma helped, you know, until she passed away when I was about 25. But growing up, you know, I was sports, man. You know, basketball, football, baseball. Then, you know, going into my teen years, you know, I really started focusing and honing in on basketball. Like, that was a love, that was a passion. You know, a lot of people today don't know I played semi-pro basketball. You know, that was many years ago and 60 pounds ago, you know. But, you know, acting was never on the radar for me. You know, honestly, back then when I was coming up, man, it wasn't an avenue. It was like, if you didn't live in Hollywood, then that was it. So, you know, I was kind of confined to my environment and just trying to make it. So, you know, when I stumbled into acting, man, I used to work for this company some years ago, and I was going in just, you know, 9 to 5, just trying to pay the bills. And they had this set up like, well, the service that we offer to the public, you know, we offer to the employees for free. So at that time, it was headshots. It was, you know, if you had a resume, they would do your resume for you. Basically everything that you need to get started. So at that point, I was like, wow, this was like 2016-ish. So I was like, wow, like for the first time ever, I'm in a position where I could do something with this, because prior to that, I didn't know where to turn. So I went through the process, man, got my headshot, started going on auditions. You know, I started with the modeling scene, and you fast forward now, and here we are today, and it really like a blur. You know, I'm 8, 9 years in now, but, you know, just starting off, I didn't know where I was going to land.
Yeah, and even with that, though, right, like you said, the industry wasn't what it is now.
No.
So, like, back then, like, from a monetary standpoint, did you see it like, dang, I can make money doing this in Detroit? Or did you have resources in different cities that made the acting dream a reality, like something I could really do for a career?
No, you know, this was ground zero, man. So, you know, initially starting, it wasn't about the money. It just was about doing something that I love to do. I just wanted to continue to grow in it, get better, and seek out more opportunities. But it's a certain point, and I can't tell you what that point is, because it varies from person to person, where you feel like, okay, now I can start making a couple dollars doing this. You know, I done some stuff for free, and, you know, just trying to learn the game and get better and get better. And then after a certain point, it's like, okay, now it's time to make a couple dollars. And we still don't make a ton of money, but you just got to know your worth and what your value is, and then just kind of push forward from there.
Yeah, 100%. When you first started, name some of the people that actually was acting and that really was like gaining notoriety for themselves, you know, during that time.
That's tricky, man, because a lot of us that are pillars in the community now. We all kind of started right around the same time. So I'm just trying to put some names together. So Diesel, Tristan, King, West, that's my guy. We've been knowing each other since we was kids. I'm trying to think who started out with me. I think LeMaster was doing some things too. If I'm missing somebody, man, charge it to my head, not my heart. But those probably them the ones that I can mainly remember when I was starting. So we all was kind of started right around the same time. And now that, you fast forward so many years later, we are kind of pillars in the community from the male aspect when you talk about actors in the entertainment field from Detroit. So, being able to come into the game with them and just kind of seeing where things are now, the acting game is totally changed and it's more wide open now than it has been.
Yeah.
And we put in a lot of work, and it's just, you just see a lot. You just see a lot going on now.
And you know what? Like, that's the thing too, is that with it being open, it's a lot of people that's waking up that want to be actors, and they just, jumping in the game.
Woo!
It's kind of like the rap game where it's oversaturated. Everybody want to be a rapper, and they feel like because they could catch a vibe or they could, have a moment that solidifies them as an actor. What is, I guess I would say, what's one of the biggest misconceptions about being an actor, and what qualifies you to be one when there's so many people that, say that they are?
That's and it's crazy. I'm gonna tell you something, man. A lot of people, like you just said, they thinking that they can get off the couch and just come and show up and act, because they can stand with their friends or in the mirror and quote their favorite lines from a movie that they done seen 100 times. And I can act. Yeah, that's easy. I see. But they don't know that behind the scenes, they don't understand that I started at a time where you have to have a physical comp card. See, everything is digitized now. Everybody just whip their phone out and you got everything. But, we had to get physical headshots, physical comp cards. If you had an audition in LA, you had to physically be there to do that audition, or you didn't even get that opportunity. Now it's just everything's a video submission, sending out your Instagrams, everything is just digitized. So that makes the game easier, but also they don't understand that we don't make a ton of money. Some projects will pay you a nice bag, and I done made some money in this industry. I ain't gonna act like I haven't made no money, but you don't make the money that you think. And they see us on TV, they see us looking good, we're doing our thing, we acting, we got a following. People recognize me in other states, all across the United States when I travel. So people see that, but they don't see me shooting in the gym. They don't see that I done auditioned 100 times and been told no 99 times. They don't see that, when I'm in the film, because I've been blessed to have so many under my belt, they don't see that, I've been in, 50 something movies. Well, I can't wear the same outfit in this movie that I had on in this movie. So they don't understand that our wardrobe is not always provided. So every time I do a film, I got to go buy 5, 6 new outfits. You feel me? Like, they don't see that. That costs. Sometimes that's not included. And, now it's getting to be where if I got to buy my wardrobe, then I need this amount of money going in so I can do those type of things. But they don't see the work that's being put in. Then you being away from your family. If you have a 9-to-5 job while you're trying to do this, you got to miss work. And if they not flexible, you jeopardizing losing your job.
Yeah.
Now you losing your livelihood because this movie money gonna be gone. I ain't doing a movie every month. I still got to fend to pay my bills. So people don't see that aspect of the game. So when they say to me, that's easy, I can do that, it's borderline offensive because it's like, bro or sis, like, you don't get it. You don't get what we go through to try to live out our dream. And then we doing it from here. A lot of people doing it for all the wrong reasons. And so when they say things like that to me, well, put me in a movie, man, I could do this, I could do that. Listen, bro, you got to go through the ranks. You got to get it how I can point you in a direction. I can give you some tips, but man, you got to get out here and get it, because when the opportunity is just given to you and you don't have to work for it, you don't appreciate it the same.
So for you, in saying that, what would be the ranks for you?
The ranks?
Yeah, like what would that process look like for you to give someone that certification to say, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm rocking with it. You certified.
So for me personally, I gotta see that you already attempted to do something. My thing is this: don't let, and I know this might sound mean, don't let your first opportunity begin with me. You feel me? I get everybody got to start from somewhere, but at the end of the day, if you really do love acting and you want to get into this, and you just every door you try to open has just been closed, I have to see that you really tried to open those doors before I be willing to extend an olive branch, because I've helped people in the industry, you know, make millions of dollars, and I don't benefit from that. You know, that's a different part of the game that people don't see.
And what kind of way though? Like, how does that work?
It's tricky, man. It's tricky. You know, I don't want to dig too much into it, but it's just like, you know, when you do a movie, you get X amount of dollars, you sign your contract, you know, if you get points on the back end, like every contract is structured differently as to how you gonna get a bag. But when movies come out and they hit and you was a huge part of that, you supposed to eat too. Sometimes that don't always be the case. So that's why a lot of people, and any actor from here will tell you that. That's why you see so many of them now, they're trying to do their own projects, because we see the money that's being made. You know, I don't pocket watch, and but I hear shit and I see shit. So I know the monies that's being made behind the scenes. I know how it goes. So when you sit back and you watch and people are doing things to elevate themselves, and then at the end of the day, you like, damn, I'm still trying to figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul. So that's why a lot of people are doing different things, taking more out of town work if you blessed to get it, or you just doing your own project.
Yeah, I've been noticing that, man. A lot of people have been, you know, pursuing that route to kind of do their own projects. In terms of how the money is broke down, like, just put yourself in the position as someone that's actually putting the film together, right? Explain not how much you got to kick out, but just explain how you gain revenue when you putting out a movie.
Well, I mean, well, if you're trying to do your own project, I mean, you're gaining the revenue the best way you can. You know, sometimes people will partner up, you know, whether it might be you and somebody else or you and 5 other people. They may be silent investors, so you don't see them. They just putting the money up. You got to pay your cast. You got to pay your crew. You know, you got to have locations. You know, locations are very important. And, you know, sometimes your movie bounce off the availability of a location. Like if I was using this room to shoot a scene, if you in here shooting other episodes, you know, I got to work around when you're not open or come when you close. And then that may have us showing up to set at either 6 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
You just, you know, you never know. So once you get those funds and then you just sit down and you map out a budget and you just say, this is going to be the allotted budget for my crew, my cameraman, this is going to be the allotted budget for the cast. But most times, you know, and most of them will tell you they don't want to spend all their money on the actors.
Yeah.
You feel me?
They rather spend it on the actual production, right?
Which I can understand from both sides, but I also feel like, you know, the actors, they're going to pay who they want to pay. You feel me? So they might give this person $100 a day. They might give this person $1,500 a day or more. It just varies. They really pay who they want. And then that's when it get tricky, when you start talking about money.
If I may ask, so I want to ask 2 questions. The first question is, since we right here, and hopefully you can give this information or whatever, who do you know in Detroit that's getting over $700 a day? Or maybe $1,000 to $1,500 a day.
Well, here's the thing. I'm never in the room when these contracts are being signed or talked about, so I don't know what anybody's getting. I hear things, whether it's true or not, to be determined. But when you take a look around at some of the films that have come out in the past, and you know they were hugely successful, and you start seeing how people moving and what's transpiring around you, you know that the money is being made. You know, I can't say, oh, you got $2,000, but I know you got $2,000. You feel me, if that makes sense? So, I mean, that's a tricky question, man. And the waters get real muddy when you start talking about money, period. But definitely when you're talking about what somebody else is getting. So I'm not even going to try to open up that door, because I really don't know.
In terms of the back end with the films and how, you know, the income comes in for a person that's actually curating and putting their own film together. How do they make money on the back end with streaming and Tubi and just?
I mean, yeah, again, that's a production question, but it's more so how their deal is structured. When you talk about the actors and how they make money, again, that's how their deal is structured with the producer or the director, the person is actually paying them. So sometimes they'll come to me and say, hey, I can't give you this a day, but I can give you this a day. But on the back end, I can give you 2 or 3 points or 4 points. And those might be worth so many hundreds of dollars on the back end. So when that movie hits and it streams, then once they streaming checks come in and they get a check, then they'll take from that check and give you what they agreed on for the point. So that's how you make your money on the back end.
That's interesting too, as you speak about points, because when you think about the music industry with publishing and things like that, they use points. Is it kind of similar to some kind of degree, or? That
I don't know. I've never done music. I've heard stories, so I don't really know how musical deals are structured when it comes to getting points on the back end. I just know that they do that, with us as actors sometimes to try to compensate for them not being able to pay us maybe what we're asking for in the beginning of a film.
Yeah. Now, in terms of your preparation, man, you've done, I can't even count on my fingers how many movies that you've been a part of and led. And so, like, the preparation side for you, how do you get in character? What's your process to being able to effectively play a role?
So for me, bro, I get a script and I read it. I read it probably between 3 to 5 times, front to back, because you need to know why your character do and say the things that they do and say. After I read it, then I'll start to break it down, a few pages at a time, just memorizing here and here and here, and then go a few pages. So every day I'm getting through the script 4 or 5 pages at a time. So then, as I get through it again, after I've already read it 3 to 5 times, now this is me, okay, I got questions. So let me call the director, let me call the producer. Hey, why does my character do this? Why did he say that? Because sometimes there are things that are within the script that there may not be a backstory to. And if I understand what that backstory is or how to create one, this will help me to better gauge the character to bring it to life off this paper into reality in front of the camera. So for me, it's just reading. Once I get everything broke down, I'll start to watch films that are similar to the character that I'm gonna portray in the next film. Whether it be an abusive guy, bad guy, nice guy, charming, whatever it is that I'm playing, I'll watch films that are similar to that. And then I'll just take little bits and pieces, kind of like when I was playing basketball. Jordan, Kobe, bro, you start taking little bits and pieces and adding it to your game to make the character. So I'll bring a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this to give that character a soul and bring it to life on camera. So when people see me, when I'm on camera, I'm 1,000,000% locked in, bro. I come early. If my call time is 12 o'clock in the daytime, I'm probably there at 11:15, or if not earlier, just depending. I get makeup. Sometimes I'll do my makeup on my own if I need to, or I get makeup, I get my water, and then I just get me a room or a corner, and I'm mentally locked in. So when they call me to fly me in on set to shoot whatever scenes, whatever that character is, I am 1,000,000% him.
Yeah.
Regardless as to who.
Yeah. In terms of, the locking in process, right? Because even sometimes I know I've been in a position where I'm really trying to focus on something, but I got children, I got family, do you have to isolate yourself sometimes, just to be able to be in your thoughts and kind of just be in the moment when you preparing for these films? Sometimes,
but not really. My home life, they understand what I do. So they know when they see me with that script in hand, they don't really bother me too much. If I need a quiet space, I do have an office, or I have a finished basement that I'll go down and sit and I can just lock in. So me preparing mentally for it is not hard. Whatever the character is, I'm ready to do it. I'm excited to do it. And my thing is I want to do, without overacting, I want to do it to the best of my ability, because when people see this on whether it's Peacock, Tubi, Amazon Prime, whatever platform it show on, I want them to look at me and say, he got to be that in real life. I've done roles with people who know me. They be like, bro, you are a great actor because this guy is nothing like you. And then the people that don't know me, they'll be like, you gotta be this guy because you played that too good. So when I started getting those reactions, I know I'm on to something.
You know, one of the things with being an actor is once you get into character, sometimes it's hard to get out of character. Have you ever experienced that? I mean, I've heard these stories from some of the greats where, you know, they played their roles so well that it became them. Some people say Tupac experienced that, you know, with Juice, and he began to take that character into his real life. Like, have you ever experienced that? And if so, if you haven't, how were you able to detach from that? And if you have, how were you able to get out of that as well?
So I've never carried a character into my real life, but there has been times where I've had to do a role and there may be a scene that causes me to be emotional. Like, I got some films coming up now where I've had to cry on cue several times. I come home and sometimes you still kind of feel that sadness. And then for me, I can compartmentalize it very well, and I understand that this is just a movie. That's a character. That's not real. So once I have that conversation with myself, I'm able to detach away from that character, and then I'm back to being Alphonso. But you can carry a character, you know, for quite some time. I've done that. I think the longest I carried a character was probably maybe 3 days.
Oh, okay.
You know, of being that person, but trying to come out of that because I'm done with that now.
Yeah.
So when you lock in like that, it can be like that.
No, 100%.
Yeah, that's a different level of locked in.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then even with some of those people that experience that too, as I think about it, these guys filming for 6 months, a year, or, you know, it's different levels to how long a person is actually filming. So if you preparing for this role for a year, it's like, okay, this can, you know.
It becomes part of your everyday.
Yeah.
You know, even when I'm not reading the script physically, I'm in the shower reciting my lines. You feel me? I'm driving, reciting my lines. Sometimes I'll record myself on my phone and then play it through the car while I'm driving to get locked in. So these characters, they kind of become part of your everyday.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful to not take them home with you. And when you're done, you got to learn how to detach from it.
Absolutely.
It can be difficult sometimes because, like you say, some people, they filming for 6 months to 2 years. You know, so that's a real thing. You got to really be careful.
So it's been a conversation that's been going on in Detroit recently as Spanky Hayes, the comedian, went on Kid L, and in that they were having a conversation about who's qualified to be a real actor versus someone that is a quote unquote Tubi actor. And he received a lot of backlash for that because they're saying that actors are just actors. It's not a such thing as a Tubi actor. Or, you know, when you look at that, what's your overall perspective on it?
So when I hear things like that, and I did see the interview with him, I've never met Dog. I don't know him personally. Just kind of heard of him here and there. I think he was a comedian back in the day, whatever the case. So I don't know him. And when I hear comments like that, I say this, you know, everybody got to start from somewhere. Tubi has a huge lane now. I remember at a time when they didn't. And even though I'm not a Tubi actor, and when I hear it, it is offensive, but I do understand that people, sometimes they are, most times they're probably not coming from a place of malice, trying to be funny, trying to underline what we do or to make it seem like we're not that. But at the end of the day, we're making content, we're making films, and, you know, my movie might be next to Training Day. So at the end of the day, when you're scrolling on these platforms, you will see the big Hollywood stars, and then you're going to see us. So to say that we're not real actors, to me, that's just a version of hate, you know. But then those would be the same people. They'll come right behind you and be like, "Hey man, can you give me an audition? Can you do this? Can you do that?" But 5 years ago, y'all was laughing at us, talking about, haha, y'all on Tubi, but Tubi owned by Fox now. You know, Tubi platform is growing tremendously at a rapid rate. I like to think that me and some of the people that are pillars in the community who started this when it wasn't cool to be an actor, we are part of that process. This is why it's so wide open. You know, we crawl through the door so a lot of people can run through it. You feel me? So when I hear stuff like that, and when I heard it from him, it was a little disheartening because it's like, come on, bro, you from here I think he is from here, right?
Yes, sir.
So, like, you from here, you trying to make your mark, or you might have did some things. It's like, come on, dog, don't do that. But man, it is what it is. You know, he's not the first person to say it, but he got a ton of backlash for it. You know, probably because he's the most recognizable for the people that said it.
Yeah.
But I just think at the end of the day, man, here, look, we here, we're real actors. We're not Tubi actors. We here, we trying to make our dreams come true, and we trying to have a career for ourselves. And I just keep pushing, man. I hear it one ear and out the other.
Yes, sir.
As I go to set.
Yes, sir. So in terms of things that you got coming up, you know, even with you having to battle through, as we had personal conversations, and you know, condolences first and foremost, you know, with the passing of your father, and still being willing to come do interview and still work. First and foremost, man, talk about, you know, your father. You don't have to go deep into it. And then after that, just more so of like the fuel that keeps you going and the upcoming things that you got that the people can expect.
Well, as far as my father, you know, like when we spoke, he passed 1 week ago today. 2 weeks ago was Father's Day. Went down to go and sit with him. We knew he was sick. He had been sick for quite some time. They sent him with hospice. So, you know, my brothers and sisters on his side was like, yeah, you need to get down here because we don't know how much longer he got. So I went, took my daughter. He was in Atlanta. You know, we got a chance to sit and talk. And, you know, he just was more so, you know, I sat in his hospital bed at the house, and he just was like, listen, I love you. I'm proud of you, the man that you grew up to become. He's like, your mom did a good job raising you. So, you know, just continue to make me proud. So, you know, for me, like I already knew that, but to hear it from him, it's like, okay, you know, I'm gonna keep pushing because I know that's what he would want me to do. But it's difficult. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't feel it, because I do. But, you know, I got a tremendous support system at home, and, you know, I've had a lot of people, you know, reaching out to support, and just keep pushing through, man. That's all I can do.
Yeah. In terms of the things that you got coming up that the people can expect.
Yeah, I got a series in Cleveland that I'm actually flying out at the end of the month to shoot. Probably be there for a few days, and then I'll fly right out of Cleveland and go back to Atlanta to shoot Tears of a Hustler Season 3, which we just won Best Series on Tubi for Season 2, man. So shout out to Silk White, that's my guy. Going back down there with him and tremendously talented cast, and we gonna push out another banger.
Sir, yes, sir. Lastly, man, before we get out of here, a large part of everything that you've been doing with, you know, being on the road, traveling and all of that, man, is health. So for the people out there, man, that's aspiring actors, people out there that just want to get their mind right, their body right, what would be the lasting message for them?
Physical fitness and health is so important. You don't have to have big, crazy muscles to be physically fit. So I just tell people, man, try to eat the right stuff. Like me personally, I eat chicken, fish, turkey, salad. That's been my diet for the past 8 years. My fiance, she hates it because it limits her on what she can cook, but that's been my diet, and I've just been sticking to it. I might do some pepperonis on the pizza here and there. My biggest weakness is sweets. I got a sweet tooth, man. If I could cut down on the candy and the cake here and there, which I curve it, but it'd be hard. But everything else is easy. I try to get in the gym 3-4 days a week. You know, even if I don't, I just go, I got stuff at home. I got stuff at home that I could do, because your body is like a car. You can't drive your car for 5 years and not get an oil change or put gas in it, or, you know, you got to make sure that things under the hood is right so that you can prolong the life of your car. So your body is the same way. You got to put the right things in it under the hood to make sure that it's right. And when you take your car to the mechanic, you got to take your car, your body, to the doctor and make sure everything is running right, because you don't want nothing to sneak up on you. And then now you in a situation where you got to eat right, or you got to work out, or you're going to lose your life.
Yeah.
See, that's a different kind of stress. So I say now, take care of your body now. Your body will take care of you later.
Yes,
and,
sir.
and that's the best thing that I can give people as far as that concerned.
Man, yes, sir, man, 100%. Well, man, I definitely appreciate you for stopping by. You know what I mean? For the people, you know, that needs to keep up with you, let them know where to follow you at on social media.
Yeah, definitely. So check me out on Instagram at Mr. Amazing. So it's Mr.Amazn1, or you can just follow me on Facebook at my regular first and last name, Alphonso Settles.
That's what it is, man. Y'all make sure y'all tap in. One of the legends with the acting scene in Detroit, man, Alphonso Settles, the Foreign Magazine, Pulse of the Culture. Let's get it.